Today, we are diving deep into the mind of one of the most original thinkers of our time, Charlie Munger. And we're going to do it by exploring the essential wisdom from an incredible book that really captures his unique way of looking at the world, Poor Charlie's Almanack. To really get who Charlie Munger was, you have to start right here with this quote. And it's more than just a funny one-liner, trust me. This was his entire operating system. He was quite literally a lifelong learning machine, and it was all powered by this just insatiable curiosity. But look, this is way more than just a story about a guy who read a lot of books. It's about the incredibly powerful way of thinking that's packed inside that book, and the story it tells about how to see the world more clearly. So, a book with legs. It's funny, right? But his friends and family all had these amazing stories about his almost superhuman ability to just focus. It wasn't just that he read a ton, it's how he thought about what he was reading. I absolutely love this story from his friend Dick Esbenshade. He talks about being in the car with Charlie and sitting through 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 green lights. Why? Because Charlie was so deep in thought, so lost in figuring out some problem, that the entire world outside his own head just vanished. And that right there, that's the key. This wasn't just him being forgetful or absent-minded. This was the raw power of intense concentration. A huge part of Munger's success was built on this rare ability to completely shut out all the noise and just think. So you might be wondering, what was the point of all this intense thinking? Well, it turns out Munger was pretty much obsessed with solving one big, frustrating problem. One that frankly affects every single one of us. This is the question that drove him for his entire life. He was constantly seeing these brilliant, high IQ people, in business and law, you name it, making the most boneheaded, avoidable mistakes. And he just had to understand why. And he figured it out. The enemy, as he called it, is standard human folly. It's this whole collection of cognitive biases and mental shortcuts that are basically hardwired into our brains. Our minds are built to take the easy way out, we're easily tricked by incentives, we get trapped by our own bad ideas, and we tend to believe whatever information is right in front of our face. Our own mind, Munger realized, is a minefield. But Munger didn't just point out the problem and leave it at that. Nope. He actually developed this incredibly powerful toolkit to fight back against our own worst instincts. He called it a latticework of mental models. The foundation of this whole toolkit is so simple, but it is so profound. It all starts with relentless curiosity. You just have to keep asking why, and then why again, like a little kid, but with way more discipline. This constant questioning is what really fuels genuine understanding. So what even is a mental model? Well, it's just a framework for understanding how something in the world works. But here's the mistake most of us make. We become an expert in one little area, and then we try to solve every single problem using that one tool. It's like Munger always said, to a man with only a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. To really see reality clearly, Munger argued you need to build a whole latticework of these models. You got to draw from all the major disciplines. You need psychology to understand why people are so irrational. You need microeconomics to understand the power of incentives. And you need the hard sciences to understand, well, the fundamental laws of reality. Each model gives you a brand new lens to see the world. Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in practice? Let's explore 2 of Munger's most powerful and, honestly, most useful mental models. So 2 of his go-to tools are almost opposites, but they work together perfectly. First up, you've got the circle of competence, which is all about knowing where you have an edge. And second, you have this wild idea called inversion, which is all about figuring out what to avoid. Munger just loved to tell this story about the physicist Max Planck's chauffeur to explain the circle of competence. See, the chauffeur had heard Planck's lecture so many times, he knew it by heart. He could recite it perfectly. But when someone asked a tough follow-up question, he was toast. He had the words, but not the understanding. And that's the whole point. You have to know, really know, if you're the physicist or the chauffeur. All right, now for inversion. This one is just brilliant. Instead of asking the typical question, how can I have a successful life? Munger would flip it completely on its head. He'd ask, what would absolutely 100% guarantee a life of total misery? And he actually laid out a prescription. Step 1, be completely unreliable. Never do what you say you're going to do. Step 2, only learn from your own mistakes.
Ignore all the wisdom and all the failures of everyone who came before you. And finally, step 3, when life knocks you down hard, and believe me, it will, just stay down. Give up.
And here's the magic. Just invert that whole list. Be reliable. Learn from the triumphs and disasters of others. And when you get knocked down, be resilient. The path to a good life, it turns out, is often just about making sure you avoid all the obvious paths to a bad one.
Which really brings us to Munger's whole philosophy. When you boil it all down, it's fundamentally about fairness and about earning your place in the world.
His advice for a career wasn't about climbing the ladder or maximizing your salary. It was about living a life of integrity. I mean, just think about these 3 rules. They're so simple, they're so ethical, and if you can actually follow them, it's pretty hard to go wrong in life. And this really is the core of it all. This is the essence of Charlie Munger's wisdom. It's not about some grand, brilliant breakthrough. It's about the slow, steady, daily process of getting just a little bit smarter, a little bit better. You just slug it out, day by day, and in the long run, the world will give you the results you've earned. So I'll just leave you with this question. It's the one Charlie Munger asks himself every single day of his life. What will you do today to be just a little bit wiser than you were when you woke up?